Hello and welcome to or back to my channel. My name is Kaleia and this is another episode of my knitting podcast. Today I have quite a lot of finished objects to show since it's been a while since the last time I've made a podcast, and I actually don't have many, or only have one whip today, so I've been kind of wrapping up a lot of projects and trying to plan what I want to make. It is upcoming, like the spring and summer season, and I'm really debating whether I want to make spring and summer knits at all. I've made some previously and I didn't really like the finished product, so I'm trying to see whether or not I want to make them or just not make them all, or figure something out, or just like try to make stuff for next winter. So anyways, with that out of the way, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 finished projects, which is a lot. And the first one, and I'll talk about what I'm wearing, is what I'm wearing today. It's the Sophie Knit by Skall Studio. I made it using, I have actually left over quite a lot, the Knitting for Olive Heavy Merino and Marzipan, and their soft silk mohair in Cloud. Now, when I first saw this on, I ordered it directly from Knitting for Olive, I thought that the Marzipan was a lot more, I thought originally that it was more like cream colored, but now it's more of like a grayish white, which is a lot more similar to the other Dagmar jacket that I made. So I was like, oh, this is kind of annoying. It's obviously not the same color, but it's a lot more similar than I would have liked. Anyways, this is the Sophie knit. I'll also put a picture of me wearing it here. It is a top down, it's worked flat, which is something that is pretty, I don't know, I think there's been a little bit of controversy around this pattern, whether it's good or not, which I'll talk about. But you basically knit the top, or you knit the back, then you pick up stitches for the front and you knit those flat, then you seam this side, and technically you're supposed to also knit the sleeves flat, but I ended up knitting them in the round by just picking up stitches here and decreasing, and then doing some ribbing, and there's also ribbing at the bottom as well. On the back, it's a fully lattice pattern. I'm not sure if you can see, and then it's got the cables connecting on the top. I am super happy with how this turned out. I really was kind of worried, I think, reading the pattern, and it only has 2 sizes, which is really not great. They are very oversized, which I think in their minds maybe they're thinking it can fit more people, which is true, but obviously the size range could be a lot better. But definitely had quite a lot of gripes with the pattern. I definitely would not say that it's beginner friendly. I managed to get all the way through it without many issues, but I definitely did get confused, especially when picking up for the front and doing the short rows. There are a lot of typos, and the wording doesn't make sense to me. And yeah, I definitely don't think that the this short row part for the neckline is probably the hardest part in my opinion. I've also done something new this time. Since I'm at home right now, I was like, I'll have a sewing machine, so I decided to take up on this project because the sides are actually seamed and not knit in the round. And I usually hate knitting things flat, but what I found, I think I like knitting cable flat, because when you're cabling, you knit one side, the right side is the side that you cable on, and then the wrong side is the side you just follow the stitches. But sometimes when I'm knitting in the round, I know I can read my stitches, and that's usually fine, but I like it when it's just like back and front. I just don't have to think about it at all, and it's a lot easier to keep track of the cables. And yeah, that just went, I actually found that I kind of liked it. One thing though that I will say that is kind of annoying is, since you're working it flat, the ribbing doesn't exactly line up. I think the stitches are even or odd. I'm not really sure, but how to explain it. When you're making the seed stitch on the side and transferring into the ribbing, so you're saying you're doing the seed stitch and the next round you're going to start the ribbing, you can either do like follow the row before the seed stitch so it goes up, or you can do another round which basically looks like seed stitch but then from then go onto the ribbing, if that makes sense. And the problem is when you're doing the bottom, one of the sides of the seed stitch will have the directly from the seed stitch up, and then the other one will have a row that looks like the seed stitch until you do a second row, if that makes sense. So they're kind of staggered, and so you have to make sure that the side that is a little tad bit longer is also the side on the back, which is also a little bit longer, so that when you seam it on the sides, I don't know if you can see it, will also line up. So that's just something that I kept in mind, and I knew that if it wasn't lining up completely, that it would really annoy me. So, you know, that's what I did as a solution. As well, the sleeves are supposed to be worked flat, and I really did not like that idea. I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna make the sleeves in the round. I picked up stitches. I ended up picking way more stitches than the pattern suggests. It suggests, obviously not gonna give it away, but like a certain amount, and then I think I added like at least 20 more, I want to say, and I think it looks great. I don't know why I would work the sleeves flat and then seam them. I think that's kind of a bit of a pain, and I really like when the sleeves are like totally in the round. I don't want to like feel the seam on my arm, because you can't obviously feel the seam here, but definitely on the arm I think it'd be way more noticeable. And then also with like, it'll have the rib in the worked flat too, which then would have that big seam, and I think that, I don't know, maybe it just, I don't think it would look as great. But I ended up following the same like every, so I don't know, every like 10th or 11th or something row, and then decreased in the way that like the Dagmar jacket works, or any other seed stitch, you know, just like knit purl two together, and then when you get to the other side of your stitch marker, you'll purl two, or slip purl, that sort of decrease. So it ends up looking like this, which is really not noticeable at all. I had a lot of troubles getting these two cables to line up when I was doing the two sides right here, so that took like a lot of redoing, which was really annoying, I want to say. But you know, it is what it is, and I'm glad that it's done. But I actually had a lot of fun making it, and I would be really tempted to make another one because it does fit so well. And yeah, that's my first finished object. Oh, it was also made, mine was on 4.5mm needles, and then the cuffs were done on 4mm needles. So that's what I'm wearing. I guess I'll move on to my next finished object, which are these, or I guess 2 in 1, they're the same pattern. I made 2 pairs of the, let me get this right, Przelotki gloves by Rat and Sea Witch. They are this lace patterned fingerless glove. I almost lost my words for a second there. And they're super pretty. This one I actually realized that I was doing the amount of stitches in between the repeats was 1 row too many, but I actually find that I like the fit, and the look is almost identical, the same, because I think because my fingers and my hands are so short that it fits better than the white ones, which are the actual pattern. They're a little bit too high, and I find that they like ride up and they kind of get in the way, but maybe if you're looking for more warmth, maybe this would be better. The fit is great, and they're really fun. It's basically like I'm just making a tube. It's really nothing all that difficult. I knit these up pretty fast. These ones, I think I had one done in the last podcast, but these are the Knitting for All of Merino and the Soft Silk Mohair in, I think, soft blue or cool blue, one of the two. And I think I used 3mm for both of these. And this was Sandnes Garn Sunday with Isager's Mohair. And I'll have the colors and stuff in the description, so, because I can't remember it right now. But this one is definitely the softest combination I've used. It's obviously the Mohair, which is the Isager Mohair, and it's so soft. I want to say that the Knitting for All of Merino, or Knitting for All of Soft Silk Mohair, is really, really soft. But it has a very dry feeling to it, whereas the Isager Mohair has more of a, I don't want to say like moist, because that makes it sound kind of just disgusting and gross, but it has a very like juicy feel. Like it feels so nice, super soft, and I really like it. And I'd love to work with it on like a sweater or something, but it is a little bit more expensive, so you know, there's that. But honestly, zero problems with the pattern compared to the last sweater I just talked about. And the lace repeat is super easy to follow. I think it has like just enough detail to it to make it interesting, but it's also plain enough to go with a lot of different things. So I love it. So those are those gloves. The next, I guess I'll share this one next. I participated in my first test it, which was really fun. This is the Haft hood by Rat and Sea Witch. It was a test knit for her, and I completed it a little while ago. I want to say like a week or two ago, and it's using Rozena by Laines. This is the only part I have left of that. And then I used Knitting for All of Merino in Poppy Blue, I want to say, with 2 strands of mohair. So it would have about the same gauge. It has this lovely cross stitch pattern on the front, and then on the back it's my initial. This is constructed top down, so you start at the top in this like little segment here, and then you increase, and then you work the body flat, and then you join in the round and then do some ribbing and then bind off, and then you pick up stitches and then knit this little rib section here, and at the end you can add the cross stitch. I had a lot of fun making this. I think I was initially, I didn't really think about it too hard, but it's nice that you don't have to do any like Italian cast-ons, because I hate doing those in the round, and I think it's just much neater when you do it as a cast-off. I'm not going to put this on right now, but I will put some pictures here of it. It fits really nicely, and this is probably the softest plush yarn that I've ever used. It's a chainette yarn, and it has cashmere in it, I believe. I think it's like merino, cashmere, and another material blend. Super nice. I'd love to work with it again. I'd say this pattern is overall quite simple, and I'm really liking the color choices here. One thing I will say is that the collar down here is a little bit long, so it kind of awkwardly rolls up at times. But other than that, I find the fit is really nice, and I wore this to the beach actually a few days ago. It was super, super windy, and this kept my head nice and cold, or nice and warm. And yeah, I find that I think I'd probably use this a lot next winter, and maybe even now if it gets a little bit cold in the mornings. One thing I will say is for the cross stitch placement, I'd probably actually do it a little bit higher up, like maybe here, because when you're wearing it, it's a little bit hard to see when it's that far down. So just that. I know that other people have, or she also has a striped version and then one with a rose motif on it. So there's lots of ways to customize the pattern, and I think that's really cool. And I think I don't know, I'm thinking about moving it, but also at the same time it's kind of a pain to redo the cross stitch, so I don't know. We'll see. I'm pretty happy with it right now, so I think I'll leave it at that. Okay, the last finished object that I have is my Uma scarf, and this is a petite knit pattern. Honestly, you probably, if you've made a triangle scarf before, don't need to purchase the pattern, but I'd actually never made a triangle scarf before, so I was like, I'll just purchase the pattern. But I made this using, I believe, leftover drops Lima with alpaca lace by Cascade in a gray color, like a gray mix. And then for the edges here, I used a fingering weight, I'm not sure, it's like a sock yarn that is pink and held double. I really like this pattern. I thought it was really fun. I mean, it does kind of get harder as you go on because it gets longer and more frustrating to purl all the way back when you're making it. But other than that, I had a really great time making it. And let me tie it around. I really love the purl detail. As you're increasing out, it kind of makes like a V shape, and I think, I don't know, something about it just looks really clean. And it's really simple, like a lot of petite knit patterns are, but I love the little border trim to it. Very cute. I know there's different ways to tie like triangle scarves that are cuter than this, but I'm really bad at, I think also this yarn is like too thick for tying it like that. Yeah. But I'm really happy with it. I'm tempted, I really want to make one in Cardiff cashmere, but I know it's like really expensive and I can't really justify that. But maybe in the future as a little gift, or maybe next fall. I feel like that'd be a good idea because then I can use it all throughout winter and it'd be a really good staple. Something to think about for me. I believe I made this on 4mm needles, I want to say. This is very off gauge. The original gauge is with the Cardiff cashmere, so that's a basically sport weight yarn on 3mm needles, and this is a, I want to say DK, maybe worsted weight, using 4mm needles. So take that with you will. It's a scarf. You can really use any yarn you want at any gauge. I don't think it's, I mean, obviously if you want the exact same thing as petite knit, you're gonna want the same gauge and the same yarn probably, but you know, you knit this scarf. I love how you can just knit it to literally the last little bit of yarn that you have and then bind off using a different color. I really like that. I think I will try to use some of my scrap yarns and make more of these. I think they would make great gifts, but at the same time it would take a really long time and sometimes the purling is a bit obnoxious and I get really tired of it, so yeah. Anyways, that is my last finished object. I have one whip today and it's actually, well, now that I think about it, it's really not finished at all. But I'm trying to think about it. It's like the sleeves don't take that long, so it's almost finished. It's my cardigan number 11. It's in my lovely project bag that I sewed. I think I'll mention that every time because I am really proud of it. But this is the cardigan number 11 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. It is a, oh, I don't even know what you would consider this. A continuous shoulder, like a drop shoulder. It's got this detail in the back. And right now this is the progress that I have. And that's like the start of one of the button bands. But this is, I finished one of the button bands. So that's what it looks like. and then I have the stitches on hold for the sleeves. This you start in the back and increase out the sides, and then you increase here, and then at the front, or you pick up the front and then you start to increase down here. It's a construction that I've never tried before, so that's been really interesting. I'm using Cascade 220 with Knitting for All of Mohair. I've never used Cascade 220, and I'm honestly really liking it so far. I think I'll end up using it a lot more because it's almost, I want to say like pretty similar to Knitting for All of Heavy Merino, but this is significantly cheaper than the Knitting for All of Heavy Merino and easier to get for people like me in the US. It's in the color, I want to say like Lunar Rock, and then the mohair is in some gray color. I'll have it down below again. But I really like the look and the color of it. I think it goes with a lot of the stuff I wear already, which is really nice. And yeah, I'm so excited. I initially swatched for this project and I was a little bit tight on the gauge. So instead of sizing up a needle, I decided to calculate and size up in the sizing. So I really wanted to make like a more of an oversized look. So I was originally going to make a large, but since my gauge is slightly off, I decided to make an extra large. I was kind of worried. I was like, I think that's like the worst part of like every project is like trying to figure out what size to make. I don't know why I always struggle so hard with that, but I find that maybe I made it too long because I accidentally made the length to the extra large length when I probably should have made it to the large length, even though that's like a couple centimeters difference. But I don't know, I think I'm pretty happy with the length. I think I need to have a variety of different lengths and, you know, stuff like that. But this is also my first time doing a double knitted button band, so I'd never tried it before. And honestly, it kind of confused me at first. The button band, like the buttonholes part and where to pick up. But after a while, it wasn't very confusing. I kind of just had to work my mind around it for a little bit. One thing I will say is that in the pattern, it says to, when you're doing the, you like split, you knit one side of the button band, the other side to make the buttonhole, and it says to yarn over, like when you're trying to transfer from one side to the other, 3 times. And I tried that and I really just could not figure out what to do with the extra yarn. Like, it was just too much and it would just like flop out and look really bad. So I ended up only yarning over once. I don't know if that's like a me thing or like why she suggests to yarn over 3 times. I don't know. It was kind of confusing to me. Obviously it's my first time making a double knit button band, so maybe I'm missing something. But I find that just yarning over once makes it look pretty normal, and I think it would fit like a decently sized button. Like when I did the 3 yarn overs, it's not like it's making the buttonhole any larger. It just had this like extra piece of string like sticking out. I was like, I don't know what this is. So let me know if you know what that is. But honestly, not much to say about this. I'm using 4.5 millimeter needles for the body, and then obviously 4 millimeters for the ribbing, and then 3.5 for the button band part. I'm hopefully gonna get the button band done pretty soon, and then the collar, because I feel like that really makes you feel like you're very close to the finish line and makes it feel a little bit more finished. And when you try it on, especially with the sleeves, you'll get a better idea of how it'll fit. So I'm really excited for that. Also, I'm really debating what type of buttons to use for this cardigan. I originally thought maybe I'd try using some like handmade ceramic buttons, but I've been realizing that I think they'd be too heavy, and I don't know, like if they like clanked against my phone or like something, that it would like scratch or break or something. I don't know, a little worried. But maybe, I don't know, I can't find myself using like a dark button for this cardigan, but then a light button I don't think would work either. Maybe like a fun button, like a fish or something, would look really cute. Or maybe my knowledge in buttons is very shallow and I need to educate myself on different types of buttons. But that will be coming up. So that's my only whip today, actually. I'm just working on this project, which feels kind of nice. It's been kind of a while since I've only had one project to work on, since I've been like working on a bunch of projects at once. I just haven't had the time to work on a singular project, and I really enjoy it. I don't know, sometimes working on larger projects is a little stressful. Anyways, the last thing I have really quickly are 2 acquisitions, which are just these merino wool yarns that I bought at, I believe, the Starlight Knitting Society, and they are I believe it's a sock yarn. So yeah, 75 superwash merino and then 25% nylon. Oh, I actually didn't realize this was superwash. Oh well. I'm honestly not sure what I'm gonna do with this. I originally bought it for the pressed flower shawl, and I've realized that maybe I don't want to make that anymore, so I'm trying to think of what I can make with this. Maybe I'll make some socks. Probably not, honestly, but I don't know. Some sort of maybe scarf. I've seen the Catherine Kuntz patterns with the like characters in the double knit color work, which I think is kind of cute. So maybe I'll try that. I'm not exactly sure, but we'll see. Yeah, I think that does it for everything I have today. I actually don't have that many projects like lined up that I'm excited to get ready to start, so I have no idea when I'll post another video, but hopefully when I do, I'll have a lot of things to share, and that'll be really exciting. So yeah, thank you for watching. Bye!